Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Peter here, Teddy's there, and we're going to be looking at 24 Gold. Originally my idea was to do the original 24 and 24 Gold and 24 Gold Elixir, but after sampling them properly I really don't like the original and I really don't like 24 Elixir, so I'm not going to do a full review on them just because I really don't like them. 24, the original, smelled very synthetically cheap and a bit nasty, and my first impression, to be honest, was like women's hairspray. I don't know if anyone else got that, but it smelled like women's hairspray and plastic. There was just something that smelled like plastic to me, like plastic glue and women's hairspray. It just smelled funky and very artificial and definitely not something I would wear personally. So that wasn't my cup of tea, I'm afraid. 24 Gold Elixir. I'm going to be brutally honest here, and this is probably going to offend some people that own this, but it genuinely was my first impression. Imagine a motorway service station, and like when you go to the toilets there and they're not particularly clean, it smelt to me like a urinal that hadn't been washed for a long time, like a really stinky urinal. So it smells of like urine, and like someone's dropped a packet of rolling tobacco, or I think Americans more call it pipe tobacco. For me it's called rolling tobacco, and dropped it in the urinal. So it's like, and it does smell real to life tobacco. It does genuinely smell like slightly sweet, slightly smoked, slightly spicy tobacco leaf. So tobacco soaked in urine was my first impression, genuinely. I think it's the note of honey in here that, when mixed with the tobacco in this way, smelt like this funky kind of urine kind of smell, to me at least, and it was really unpleasant. The urine kind of vibe disappeared after about half an hour, and then it settled down into being more of a genuine tobacco fragrance. But I don't like tobacco in fragrances most of the time, and this is no exception. If I think people will take the honey in the opening in different ways. I don't think everyone's going to smell the urine kind of thing that I did, but it just wasn't nice to me at all. That was my first reaction. It settles down into more of a tobacco based scent, slightly spiced tobacco. The performance wasn't very good. It didn't project very well. It was average in longevity as well. So to me this is just a no-go. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody personally. But yeah, that wasn't for me. So 24 Gold. I know this gets a lot of hype, so I am a bit worried about reviewing this one. I'm going to say straight off the bat that I believe that this sample here is reformulated, because it doesn't match what everybody else is saying. The longevity isn't as good. The performance in projection is very, very poor on this sample. So bear that in mind. What I'm about to say is from presumably a reformulated batch. You know, if I was reviewing the original one that's not been watered down, then this might be a different review. But for this, I think this is a reformulated. So what do I get? It's been on my hand a while. On that hand, I'm going to spray it again. I think the opening is where the magic is. I think you get a hyper sweetness of vanillin and something fruity coming through, and I would say the opening is actually unisex. I think it's all, I don't want to say feminine because I don't think it's a feminine fragrance, but I think it's, well actually, I think a woman could wear this easily. So it's unisex. I don't think it's either or. I think to say this is masculine is wrong, in my opinion. I think a woman would smell really good wearing this. It's fruity, it's very, very hyper sweet vanilla. I think that's where the magic is. I think that's what people hype is the opening. It's very nice. I do like it. I don't think it's a bad fragrance. As it dries down, you get more of the woody notes coming through. I believe it's Gaiac wood, and it's definitely quite woody. The hyper sweetness disappears, and you're left more with a vaguely kind of sweet, woody backbone with just like a dabble of amber over the top. So, you know, a little bit of vanilla left with quite a bit of wood, you know, slightly darker wood with an amber over the top. And, you know, I do think it's nice from top to bottom, but does it blow me away? No. Does it excite me? No. Do I think it's worthy of hype? I'm in two minds. I think this gets hype for one reason, and I can sum this fragrance up in a motto. I think it's sweet and cheap. I think that sums this up. This gets hype because it's good value for money. You know, it's very, very cheap. I think it was like £30 for 100ml, which is like $50 US. So for the price, I think it's a bargain. I think it's underpriced. If you can get the older one that's not been watered down, this does not perform well at all. So it's nice. I will say I don't get the oud. I really do not get any oud in this particular one. I get the woodiness, but to me, you know, you can have a woody accord without it being oud. I think people jump on saying, oh, it's oud, and it's not. It's just a woody note. So to me, at least this one doesn't have any oud. I'd put money on, if you were to analyse this in one of those perfume machines that tells you what's in it, that there would be no oud in this. But I do think it's nice. In terms of performance, longevity on this was about 8 hours longevity, with about 30 minutes of soft projection. Now on this hand, it's been on my skin for about 45 minutes. I have to be this far off my hand to be able to smell it. It projects like half an inch after just 40-45 minutes. I would say you only get about half an hour realistically of a soft projection. With this particular one, I do think it's been reformulated. So I would say don't get the new bottles of this. I think no one is going to smell it on you after just 30 minutes, unless they're giving you a hug or something. I would say if you can get the older bottle, definitely worth the money. I do think it's nice. I think realistically it's only hyped mainly for the price and the performance mixed with that good price. Although not the performance of this one. Although I will say I do kind of get a hairspray vibe in this as well. I'm not sure why, and people might have a go at me for that. There is just a streak of something that reminds me of women's hairspray. Not nearly as much as the original one, but just a little bit of it in here. That's it, you know, I think it's good, but I think you can sum it up as cheap and sweet. I don't think it stands out particularly among other, you know, sweet vanilla fragrances. I think anything that has, you know, a good dose of sweet vanilla or tonka is always going to get some kind of hype from somebody. You know, guys have sweet teeth, you know, I have a sweet tooth, you know, but comparing it to like fragrances like Amber 114 by Histories de Parfum, which is another vanilla amber, or comparing it to like Ivory Root by Zerjoff, or Guerlain Spiritueuse d'Arbor Vanille, you know, those are hardcore vanilla fragrances that knock your socks off. This does not knock your socks off. This is just, it's nice, but it's not on another level nice. It doesn't give me the gut reaction of I've got to have that in my collection. I just think, yeah, it's pleasant. I can totally get why people like it, but not something I would fall in love with. Hope you enjoyed the video, but I will say for the price, it's fantastic. You know, I really can't argue with the fact that it's so cheap and it does smell good. So, you know, go for it for the price. But for me, you know, it's not a love. I'm not going to be buying it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and the next one out is going to be an announcement video. It's not going to be a review, and you're not going to be seeing me for quite a while. I'll explain that in the next video, and I'll see you then. Bye guys, take care.